What's up, guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today's video we're going to do sort of like a podcast. We're going to assess the first three games of the season, performances, good performances, bad performances, everything in between. Going to look at some transfers. For this type of video in future, I would like to have some of you guys even on, not physically on the channel here beside me, but maybe over Zoom, via email, or if you want to put some of your comments in the channel, and we can debate them. Literally, I have an email in the description of the channel. You can hit me up on that. You can hit me up on Twitter. And I think that's it for the minute. TikTok as well. You can hit me up on that, but yeah, hit me up on them things, guys, and hopefully it will be in future channels. I would like to debate this one out, but. Start of the season has been pretty good for me anyway, being a Liverpool fan, but has been pretty poor for some teams. I suppose the big standout result of the weekend though is where we would start, and I'm gonna go to Manchester City and top of the league Leicester currently. See, a lot of people sort of, I wouldn't say they took credit off Leicester, but they sort of put it down to City not being at their best. You could say that in a way, but I feel like it would be a bit disrespectful to Leicester. I thought Leicester were absolutely terrific. I think going a goal behind helped Leicester a little bit, because I feel like if they didn't go a goal behind, I feel like they would have sat in and waited. I feel like going a goal behind, they still sat in and waited, but it was sort of like they were expecting a storm sort of thing, is how I see it. They were expecting a Manchester City siege and trying to get the game wrapped up in 5-10 minutes sort of thing. They go a goal up. Man City would have been expecting Leicester to come out, more spaces to open up for the likes of Kevin De Bruyne and stuff to flow into, even Raheem Sterling, who was their sort of furthest forward striker, we would say, on the day. Like him to find them little pockets and get a turn and have a run at the defence, and the game will open up a bit more. Leicester didn't. They sort of sat and waited. City being the home team as well, they would have to be on the front foot, and they were. But the possession, I would say, for Man City was sort of like, there was nothing to it. Like, it was like the back four could have the ball. They got up to the box area, we would say, didn't offer anything. For me. So I feel like once Leicester then got the attack and started to create a bit of trouble at the other end for City, they started to grow into the game. And I feel like maybe from the 25th, 30th minute, it was Leicester. It was Leicester's game. City had all the ball, you would say, but they didn't create anything. Leicester were absolutely terrific then. From the 30th minute, I would say even from the start, because I feel like obviously Mahrez's goal was a cracker of a goal. Straight as an arrow, no one could do anything about it. Keeper just knew it was in, second and left his boot. But I would say from the get-go, Leicester, their plan was brilliant. It was absolutely perfectly implemented, and City didn't know what to do. Yeah, you could say errors at the back from Garcia, Walker, Mendy, who we will touch off soon. We will touch off the defence as well. But yeah, Leicester were terrific. Vardy was on fire. His second goal, the flick, was incredible. But yeah, I feel like a lot of people putting out the Fernandinho coming off, and Rory Delap coming on. No, Liam Delap, sorry, Rory Delap's son, coming on, and I can see what they're saying, because you could say like from that it was 1-1, and then from that moment Leicester sort of took the game to City, and every time they got forward they opened them up. But I feel like whether Rodri or Fernandinho come off, I think Fernandinho is better at that role. So to a certain extent they might have been better, but I don't feel like City would have won the game if Fernandinho stayed on. I feel like Guardiola made an attacking substitute. He wanted a presence in the box, because, as I already said, City were getting to the 18-yard box, but that was it. The shots were long range. They didn't have, like City normally, for me, when you look back on City's games, they normally have to come up against a low block team like that, who they have to break them down. And you look at your De Bruyne's, and last season you look at your David Silva's and players like that pick them apart. I feel like the big miss of the game for me was Aguero. you can argue all you like about the defence, they haven't been great, but I feel like going forward, City had so much of the ball, and I feel like that's what they were missing. The clever runs or the positioning in the box is what they were missing for me. Liam Delap doesn't have it. Yeah, he's a presence. He's a different type of striker than what we normally see up there. But it was just to get players in the box and try cause a bit of chaos, would we say, in the box. It didn't really work. Defensively, Leicester was solid. I know City did get their second goal, but the game was well and truly done. For me, a standout performer was Mendy. I thought he was brilliant. Leicester as a whole was brilliant, but Mendy, for me, City sort of pressed a little bit, and it was on Mendy really to break the press, and we seen it. I think it was for the first goal, might have been for the first or the second goal, where he beats the press, takes a boy. I think it's Walker, it might be Fernandinho. I think it's Walker or Fernandinho when he takes a boy, man, and all of a sudden it's opened up, and Leicester look very likely to create a chance anyway. The ball goes out, and Barnes runs at the defence, and then Cole Walker clumsily fouls Vardy. But defensively, I think City definitely need to improve. But I do worry, like, if Jesus is out for City and Aguero is out for the next month, like, I feel like Leeds aren't going to be any easier. I think they'll be more solid at the back. I feel like once Laporte, even if they didn't go out and sign Diaz, I feel like Ake and Laporte, I know the two left-footed centre-backs and you don't really see it, but a lot of teams play with two right-footed centre-backs. I suppose it's just the same sort of thing. So it's just, you don't really see it a lot, so it's a bit like, what the fuck is going on? It doesn't feel right, sort of thing. But I think Ake is a good signing for them. And I feel like it just shows the strength of City's squad. The fact that Ake for me is now back up as Ruben Diaz is about to be announced, and for me he will start considering he's right-footed, and rather spending a record fee on him, he's definitely going to start. And I feel like he can't take out Laporte. I feel like maybe Pep doesn't trust Laporte to be fit for the whole season again. He does seem to have a couple of injury worries with Laporte, but when Laporte plays and he's firing, he's absolutely top class. So I feel like defensively City will get stronger, definitely. My question mark would be over Mendy for me. I know we've seen him when he first came in, and he was absolutely amazing going forward. He hasn't really offered that much going forward in the last couple of games that I've seen anyway. And defensively he doesn't look adequate. I feel like Walker in that game as well showed why he wouldn't be considered, or why he's outside of the top three in the league, you would say. Why he doesn't really get the hype anymore. Like, he still is a really good right back, and he will have a solid 6 or 7 games, but it's always a case of he has really good games and then he always seems to just be out of position or do that error. And I suppose a lot of it does come down to Pep's tactics in that respect. I feel like City will be better, but I feel like on the weekend I feel like Leicester got a spot on. Brendan Rodgers done brilliantly, and I seen this interview after the game, he said that normally he wouldn't change it like that or tweak it like that, and I feel like that in itself, along with some of the acquisitions City or Leicester are looking at, I feel like when Ricardo Pereira comes back, James Justin was pretty good in the weekend. I do feel like have they replaced Chilwell? Like, they have Christian Fuchs, maybe James Justin is there. Castagna is currently playing at right back. I don't know if he can fill in at left back as well. He seems a brilliant boy. Kengi's under as well, be a decent acquisition for Leicester. I feel like when I looked at Leicester last season, I feel like their troublesome area was at right side of midfield, as I mentioned in the previous video. And I feel like they've sort of, we'll see how Kengi's gets on. Of course, I know it's only a loan option, but I think it's a loan option to buy, as many clubs are doing now with the whole COVID and financial reasons. They take them on loan and see how they get on. I don't know if it's an obligation. I think it might be option to buy. We'll see how he gets on. He seems like definitely an improvement on what they had at right mid, Mark Albrighton. He'll do a shift for you, but I feel like quality wise, it's just not there, especially if they're going to break into the top 4 this season, because I feel like it's going to be a really, really tough one. They've started off brilliantly, but I feel like the fact that Brendan Rodgers alluded to the fact that maybe he said in recent matches he would have been a positive sort of person looking to get that win, and he's trying to adjust to now like setting his team out to not concede or to be a threat without the ball. I feel like them sort of adjustments were needed. I feel like a good quality right winger, as I said, in Kengi's under was needed. He's alluded to these positions. The Chilwell one, I don't know if it'll be, like, already it's shown it doesn't seem to be that big of an issue. Like, they are still missing Pereira, they're missing Soyuncu for the first game of the season as well, I think. Indeed, he's a big miss, but again, Mendy on the weekend, and that's why I wanted to give a special little indication on him, because people were saying, like, are you going to dip into the market now? Indeed, he's out, and Brendan Rodgers has kept stuck faith with Mendy. I know he couldn't, regardless, even if he did sign the CDM, I don't think he would have been able to play against City unless he got it done like straight away. But Mendy, he put his hope in Mendy, and Mendy definitely paid him back on the weekend. Obviously, that's going to be, I think it's 3 months. Indeed, he's out for. So, can Mendy keep up his performances like that? Like, if he does what he done for me on the weekend, like, he will definitely be challenging Ndidi for that spot. Tielemans again was pretty good in the midfield, but I feel like they have that quality. Maddison didn't even start; he came on and was brilliant. Won the penalty. That goal was fucking, what a goal! Absolutely cracking goal, to be fair. But like, when he gets fit and he's firing, another improvement into the team. Harvey Barnes for me has stepped it up, but looks at the first 3 games, he looks pretty good. Last season he was really good. Vardy is having a Vardy party again this season, it looks like. I think he got 2 goals, or did he get a hat-trick in his... No, he got 2 goals in his first game, a hat-trick on the weekend against Pep's team. Like, there's so much to be positive about for this Leicester team, I feel. They did lose Chilwell. They've invested the money in areas where I feel they needed. A left back, are they going to be a left back short? We'll see. James Justin had a really good game the weekend. I think he's originally a right back, so we'll see how that goes for the season. But if it's on to go off of the first 3 games, it's definitely seems to be okay at left back for now. Jesus. But yeah, like, I think positive definitely for Leicester City. When you beat City and score 5 at the Etihad is definitely going to be positives. But I feel like in all the games they looked and dealt with situations brilliantly. And that last season, to be honest with you, last season they pushed right up until Christmas, January period, and I think it was the last 2 Liverpool that sort of made them fall off. And then, like, towards the end of the season last year, they didn't get top 4 for me due to injuries. They were on a bit of a bad spiral, because for me top 4 was wrapped up for them last season. But like, that win on the weekend for me is just, like, you can imagine what the dressing room's going to be like after smacking 5 past City. It's going to be like, Leicester are going to be a team to watch out for this season. A lot of teams at the start of the season, a lot of people, including myself, was oh well, the original top 4 I think be next season, and Arsenal and Spurs are going to close the gap, and you have your Wolves there. The issue, like, I would say Leicester, based on the first 3, would be up there. But the issue I have for Leicester hasn't hit them yet. I feel like once the Europa League comes around for Leicester City, it's gonna, like, it takes its toll on any team. It really does. It takes its toll on any team. I think the same with Spurs. It'll hit them. Like, they have a lot of games at the minute. I think they're playing fucking 3 games in the next 6 days or something like that. It's crazy. Like, their schedule is going to be big. I feel like obviously Spurs are more equipped squad wise than Leicester for me. They have a lot of, like, backup players that would easily get to, I'd say, qualifying rounds or qualifying stages at least in the Europa League. Whereas Leicester, for me, I don't know if their second string is going to be like most of the teams in Europa League. I feel like they could rest maybe 4 or 5 players and possibly get through the groups and get into knockout stages. So that's a good one. But when we're talking about top 4, I feel like they might start falling off when they play the Thursday Sunday schedule. Like many teams have for the last number of seasons, even the big part of the top 6 and top 7, they have struggled in the Europa League for me to be consistent in the league as well. It definitely takes its toll. That's where it's going to hit them. If they can get that right and they can get through, or they can prioritise or get 4 wins and rest some of their players, and depend on who they're playing, and you know, a lot of teams obviously have to come into factor, but I feel like you go to City away, for me, one of the 2 hardest fixtures of the season. Knock 5 past them, get the 3 points, it'll fill them with immense confidence, and they'll be definitely in the race. I feel like Europa might just knock them out of it, but for me, again, well, it could be something that they prioritise. A lot of people are saying Arsenal to win the league, win the Europa, which I don't. Look, Arteta's doing wonders for me. Arsenal, he's definitely improved them. Wonders might be an overstatement, but he's definitely improved them. But this Leicester team can definitely go toe to toe with Arsenal. 100% can go toe to toe with Arsenal. I feel like the winner of Europa League might come out of the Champions League this season. But I feel like there's definitely competition there. Like, Leicester for me could do it if they prioritise the cup. they're definitely up there and can go toe to toe with the likes of Spurs and with the likes of Arsenal. Um, but yeah, like I feel like brilliant win the weekend. City need a bit of work. People are saying it's the biggest challenge for Pep yet. Maybe it is. I don't see Pep staying at City next season. I think this is his last season, regardless of the result. Unless he wins Champions League, I feel like it may. But even then, I feel like it's only a maybe if he stays at Manchester City. I feel like it seems like a lot. He's getting questioned a lot, as you do in England. He spent a lot of money, so a lot of things are expected. Like that's how money is. Like you spend 200 million, things are expected of. It was expected of Klopp when he went out and done Fabinho and Keita and Alisson. I think all in the same summer. A lot of us expected. Since then, they've been unbelievable. Like if Liverpool had been a bit like City now, or like you imagine for me, if Klopp goes out and spends some money, that Pep like he'd get absolutely slaughtered, and rightly so, because like I think Liverpool's whole budget in terms of when Klopp like is sitting. This is a guessing by the way. It's in around 500-600 million, I'd say. Not net spend, just spent on the club. And City has spent like 60-70% of that just on defenders. Like it is a bit crazy. I don't see Pep there next season. I can see maybe, I don't know what's happening with Barcelona, but I can see him back at Barcelona next season, or maybe Spain or something like that, or maybe he'll take a year out, or I'm not too sure, but some of the things I've seen on in that game against Leicester, like players coming off and going mad, and I get the whole thing. Like, of course, you'd be angry coming off the pitch. That's to be expected. But I don't know. Like, you can get angry and kick the team without walking off. And I think Sterling done it last week, and they're just bypassing Pep. And Pep, like, I don't know. It seems a bit of a mess. I'm not saying he's lost the dressing room. He definitely hasn't. But it seems like it's a bit of something matter, or something's happening there at City. But yeah, I definitely expect him to go out, and I think Leeds are the next game. It's going to be a really tough game for Leeds, although Leeds for me won't be expected to win the game. So it might be a free rein for Marco Beasley, who's a brilliant manager, to have a pop at Manchester City. I think other performance of the weekend for me was West Ham. They played Wolves, who debuted. Sorry, guys. Who debuted Nelson Tomato, and like Wolves just weren't that, and West Ham were at it. Doesn't surprise me that David Moyes wasn't on touchline, and West Ham gave their best performance. Not a little bit. But yeah, West Ham for me won the performances of the weekend. I didn't expect them to go out and beat Wolves the way they beat them. Especially like the first game of the season against Newcastle, they were absolutely horrific. They were shocking. A lot of things went on about their transfer business and lack of it. I would say they haven't really signed anyone of no. The whole Declan Rice situation is still up in the air, but on the weekend there was some things to be positive about after the Arsenal game. I would say you could see there was fight there, and Arsenal were on good run, and they put it up to Arsenal, could have beat them. The handball incident with Gabriel, I know it's new rules, but it's just what all the handballs going on at the minute. It's crazy, to be honest. I'm not saying it was a penalty. Obviously, new rules say it's not, but I'm just like on another day, or that could have easily been a penalty. But yeah, like they could have got something out of that game. Probably deserved to get something out of the game. And I put it down to Arsenal winning, not scruffily, but when they're not playing well, which is a sign of a good team. But West Ham put it up to Arsenal, definitely more positive than how they played against Newcastle by a distance. And then they went a step better again against a good Wolves team, who just didn't look at it. Didn't look, fitness seemed a little bit of an issue, but West Ham Wolves had a lot of the ball, didn't really create an awful lot. West Ham were just brilliant. Jared Bowen was really good. Jovan Souček in the midfield looks pretty decent as well. Seems a presence in there and likes to get forward, and he looks pretty good for West Ham. But yeah, definitely positive for West Ham there. If they can keep that going into the next game, and they can pick up a couple of wins on the bounce, definitely a positive season for West Ham in terms of where they expect to be. Like a mid-table team is where I would expect West Ham to be. Definitely, possibly top half, with the squad that they have and the win on the weekend against Wolves, who will as well be a top half team, definitely shows that they have the quality to push up in the table. Wolves, on the other hand, just wasn't a great performance, was it? I mean, what they done the first half against City, people were like, what are they going to do? And I actually praised them in the second half because it was a completely different Wolves team that we seen in the second half. But then probably wouldn't have been a bad result to actually. I wouldn't be bad to say that Wolves could have easily got something out of Manchester City in that game. Second half was chance-wise, for me, they had the better chances in the game. They had more chances in the game than City, and just wasted a lot of them. Probably the goal that they scored against City was the hardest chance that they had, and Jimenez, the header was like, I don't know, 12 yards out and beat Ederson. So, yeah, definitely something to be positive about in the second half of the game against Manchester City. But we seen a first half performance against City, against West Ham, for me, for the whole 90 minutes. I feel like West Ham blew them away, and Wolves couldn't really deal with them that much. It didn't really offer an awful lot. We've seen a little glimpse of Fabio Silva coming on. Again, 38 million is a lot of money for them. And for me, they did need it. But I feel like improvement was, has Semedo improved Matt Doherty? Possibly, time will tell. I feel like straight away it's hard to say because Doherty was really good for Wolves, but quality wise and as a player, I think Semedo is probably better than Matt Doherty. But I feel like Matt Doherty, very underrated in my opinion. Last season was pretty good for Wolves. Solid right wing back, knew the system. Comes out, Semedo comes in, so you would say sorry guys. Again. You would say definitely that Wolves were lacking. Like Adama gets further forward, things started to look like things were going well in team selection wise anyway. They had Adama further forward. Jimenez got his goal against Wolves, and we seen a glimpse of Fabio Silva. But I would say maybe a slight improvement. But I don't think Fabio Silva is at the level of Jota. I don't know if Jota started much games last season, but obviously Fabio Silva in a couple of years has the potential to be at a certain level, but you're only 18 and you're coming to a completely new league, you should say. It is going to be tough, especially the fact that it's Premier League. It is going to be tough. I don't think we've seen Anton Podence, who was pretty good against Manchester City. The midfield, João Moutinho and Neves didn't offer a lot of positives for me, or to shine a light on in terms of quality in the midfield. Didn't control the game the way you would expect them to. Souček's presence was pretty good, and Rice had a good game. They won that midfield battle, and when it was there to be won, I think West Ham sort of let Wolves had a lot of the ball, especially considering when they were 1, 2, 3 goals up. And then the goal at the end from Haller just wrapped up Wolves' evening. Nothing really, no positives to take out of the game. Semedo just getting 90 minutes would be the only real positive I could give. And Fabio Silva maybe getting some game time. But in terms of any positive out of the game, I can't really give. West Ham, if they can perform like that consistently and at least like 90% of that consistently and have them performances every couple of games, they will be fine this season. They can push the mid-table. They were pretty good. And maybe Wolves just based it off Newcastle and just didn't think that West Ham would be like that, and I suppose got a bit complacent, you would say. I'm not too sure exactly what happened with Wolves. It's not what I expect to see normally. They're the high performance teams and standards are high with Wolves, but against West Ham they weren't that. West Ham were pretty good against Wolves, and look, as I said already, if they can keep the performance levels up to a minimum and get in around them performance levels most weeks, 90% even, they will be fine this season. There'll be no relegation battle for them. They'll be absolutely fine. If not, and it could be a case that we see it as we do most seasons with West Ham, squad quality wise, as I said, top half team, but every season they seem to just be dragged into that relegation, scuffed, and they just need to take each game as it comes and perform to a high level for me, because they have the quality to beat most teams, any team for me in the league on their day, and they'll give hassle to the big boys if they play to that level every week. But yeah, as I said, there was 5 goals, and Leicester beat City at the Etihad. That for me will be performance of the weekend. We'll jump on to Liverpool's game against Arsenal, because I feel like that's probably then in terms of result and performance. For me, Liverpool dominated the game. The big question point, or the big question mark, was Mane should have been sent off. Should he have been sent off or not? I'm gonna say, like, it's. I feel like if Arsenal win that game, I feel like nothing gets said about the handball. I feel like it's just a case of what can we blame it on. Liverpool, yeah, they had 11 men on the pitch, deserved to win the game. For me, simple as. And I know I'm a boys fan because I feel like if it was the other way around and Liverpool lost, I would be questioned. But I feel like the yellow card is. It could have been a red card. It definitely could have been a red card. Had the red card been given, I don't think there's much you can say or do to go against the referee. But I feel like they looked at it, they thought it was a yellow. Man, they didn't like go to try to take him out. I think there was malice, but I do feel like he is expecting the sort of the shoulder from Tierney as well. That's the only sort of thing I can give him. Probably lucky to stay on the pitch, but I feel like performance-wise on Liverpool was brilliant. You could see Arsenal's game plan. Klopp knew exactly what he was doing, and to be honest, I'm not going to get in there, but like Arsenal fans were saying, no, we've beat them twice already. Community Shield, fair enough, but I feel like the season was over when Liverpool played them under Arteta last season. And I feel like it gave Arsenal a bit of false hope. Like you could see the difference in quality. Another key moment you would say was Alisson's save on Lacazette, or Lacazette's miss against Alisson, whatever way you want to put it. But I feel like other than that, we sort of nullified Arsenal. Aubameyang wasn't in the game. Lacazette was the main threat, you would say. And a lot of people were saying get him off and blah blah blah. But like for me, if Lacazette isn't on the pitch, I'm not gonna say they don't have to force goal, but position wise and like he has the cleverness to be in them positions and time his runs, and Aubameyang obviously has the pace to the ball over the top. It's definitely on most of the time. But like I feel like maybe if Nketiah or players like that come on, like I don't know if they have the game intelligence to be in them positions that Lacazette was in. So I feel like when you say anyone else would have scored that, I don't know, like you can't just assume anyone else would have been in that position. Alisson does brilliantly to save the ball, and other than that, like I don't really like the goal that they got was a gift from Robertson for me. I feel like it was a really good performance, especially after 3 games in. We see some teams struggling in some games. As a Liverpool fan, I'm pretty happy with that, considering as well that Thiago and stuff was out and Henderson for me was out, which is a big miss. But yeah, Keita for me was a positive in that game. You can see him definitely improving week in, week out, and I don't mean goals and assists, because to be honest with you, he definitely has the quality to create things, but I feel like Liverpool's midfielders they're just not assisters or goal scorers. Yet they can obviously they lump in with a handful here and there, but they're system players. They get the ball, they do the dirty work, and they get it to the forwards. They win the ball in transition. So the whole game plan for Liverpool is to win the ball high and get it up to the front 3 as quickly as possible, and that's it. So you don't really see many assists from the midfield, but that's why they do have the key passes and stuff like that, and they are involved in attacks from winning the ball back. And for me, that's more important to Liverpool than having a player like De Bruyne in your team. And because Liverpool win the ball in transitions when they're already so far up the pitch, they don't need someone like De Bruyne. Obviously, he would improve Liverpool, don't get me wrong, but I'm saying because of how they play, they don't need players like that, and it's more important for Liverpool to win the ball in transitions rather than keep the ball. And like Liverpool for me are better without the ball. They can dominate possession, and with Trent and Robertson, they have the ability to get the goals when they need them as well. And that's what we're hoping Thiago brings, and that's what for me Thiago will bring to Liverpool. Keita for me can offer that. I feel like he's only starting to get into the rhythm now. I know he's there 2 seasons, but like for this, he's played 5 games in a row for the first time at Liverpool, which says it all really. I feel like now we'll start to see Keita, if he can stay injury free, bit by bit, step her up and up and up and up and up. In terms of quality, he's now doing what Klopp wants him to do. And he was everywhere yesterday for me until he got taken off. I would say maybe 10 minutes before he got taken off, you didn't really see him as much. And for me, that's solely down to being tired. I would put it down to 3 games in, and he covered every blade of grass yesterday. He was terrific. So yeah, I feel like the positives for that is that that's not a full strength. Although starting 11 wise, I feel like squad wise we still have a bit of strength to come in. I feel like Thiago could offer that little bit of something, but everyone yesterday was top class performance from them. No one I could say didn't do their job. Everyone did. In terms of Arsenal, who to be honest I thought performed actually well. There was question marks over the starting 11, I would say, which you could agree with because like I feel like Gabriel has been the best centre half this season, and I feel like to just drop him for no reason is a bit of a mad decision. Yes, I get the whole David Luiz sort of, yeah, he has the experience, but I feel like could have maybe pushed Tierney up to left wing back and played Gabriel left centre back, or maybe could have took Holden out, put Luiz over to right centre back and played Gabriel as centre back. Now maybe I don't know if you want Luiz isolated, but I feel like he wouldn't have been. I feel like maybe in a game where he would get isolated, where Arsenal dominating the ball and they're pushing forward and they're higher up the pitch. But I feel like Arteta, for me, his game plan was Liverpool will have the ball and we'll get them on the counter, let them press us, and we'll get along to Aubameyang. Now maybe I'm wrong, or was watching a completely different game last night. But for me, Luiz for me wouldn't have been that much of a liability last night. I don't feel. And for me, Gabriel helps out the defence a little bit. Holding for me, not that anyone particularly played absolutely terribly, because I don't think Arsenal's defence was actually really that bad. I feel like the first goal, Leno possibly could do a bit more, but I think Tierney is afraid to touch Salah there, because I feel like sometimes VAR is obviously it's flip, but I feel like any touch if Salah goes down, even if it may not definitely be a penalty, I feel like if the ref gives it, VAR isn't going to overturn it because there is that slight bit of contact the referee is giving it, so he ain't. So I feel like Tierney's a bit like, fuck, I don't want to touch him. So once Salah cuts inside, Tierney's done, he's too close, he's done. And I think Leno, because the power's already in the ball, could he punch it like out, like as in outside the box maybe? Maybe he can. Look, I'm not a keeper, so I'm not going to judge him. He says the first shot and the rebound is there for Mane, who taps it in. And the second goal, I feel like Robertson's free at the back post. Maybe defensively there he should have been picked up, but I think it takes a nick off the defender, which takes it straight to Robertson, and once the goal goes in, and then defensively at the end, ball gets knocked out, and Jota scores a great finish. So I don't feel like any goal was particularly a defensive error from Arsenal, but I feel like Gabriel, who's been terrific for Arsenal this season, would definitely offer a bit more steel at centre back. And I feel like maybe David Luiz didn't even need to play, but as I said, the Arsenal defence was pretty solid. Was okay, I would say. Yes, they stand out like bad performances. I would say Holden maybe was the worst at the back. He did lose the ball in a couple of areas, but again, Rob Holden probably didn't need to play. Gabriel, as I said, could come into that centre back, and David Luiz could go out to right centre back. But look, it's just a thought. Arteta knows exactly what he's doing, because as I said, for me, Arteta is definitely, he's doing brilliant with Arsenal. He's getting the best out of them. And as I say in most of the videos, if you can get in Aouar or Partey, or probably both, Arsenal step up another level. As I said, the win against West Ham wasn't a convincing win. They didn't go out and blow West Ham away, but they got the job done. I feel like Arsenal last season wouldn't have got the job done in that game before Arteta comes in, or old Arsenal. They dominate games and wouldn't get the win, and the fact that Arteta is getting what you would call maybe scruffy wins against West Ham. Obviously they dominated Fulham. They were in the game yesterday. I suppose that was the game plan for Arteta. As you mentioned, we stayed in the game. Tough place to go, definitely. They were in the game up until the end. Lacazette had that big chance. So definitely Arsenal for me were there is definitely positives to take out of the game. I also feel if he gets in the players that he wants to get in, as I said, we'll see a step up from Arsenal again. Can they get top 4 this season? I feel like they can. I feel like because they're not in Europe, it's going to help them out absolutely massively. I feel like this season we're seeing teams like Manchester United, Chelsea struggle, who people had going for the title. In the 4 horse, including myself, I did think before the league started that would be Manchester United would be closer, just based on, I know we're only 3 games in. I'm not saying that they won't be. They've only played 2 games. They win. They're 3 points off. Like I'm not saying it's done, but I'm just saying Um, like for me, I thought without the season starting, I thought it'd be Man City, Liverpool, Chelsea, Man United, going for the title for me, and I thought it'd be a race then for Arsenal and Spurs, possibly Leicester, and possibly Wolves, and possibly Everton based on who they signed to go for one of them top 4 spots. But I feel like Arsenal have started off pretty good. They've got the 2 wins against teams that they should be beating in Fulham and West Ham. They were still in the game yesterday, nearly got the game plan completely or absolutely spot on. If Lacazette takes that chance, it's a different game, definitely. 2-2. If Mane is sent off, it's definitely a different game. But I feel like Liverpool dominated the game, as Arsenal knew they would. And I feel like Arsenal were in the game, definitely positives. I would say Arsenal could definitely get top 4 this season. As we touched off, I am going to jump onto the Manchester United and Brighton game. I'm going to touch off that game, but I'm going to jump into Manchester United because I feel like as we're in the top 4 discussion, I may as well bring Chelsea into it and Spurs as well. We sort of do the whole lot of them together, sort of thing. I feel like Arsenal definitely have got the opportunity to get in there. Based on the performances that we've seen so far, I think Spurs as well are showing that they will be up there. But yeah, I feel like Arsenal definitely, especially if they get in fucking Partey and OR for me, they will be up there. 100% they will be up there. I think Europe, as I said, sorry, with about Spurs a little bit earlier on, we are going to cover all them. We're going to cover the Spurs, Chelsea, Arsenal, and Manchester United chances for top 4 or the title this season. But like, I feel like Arsenal will definitely perform to a good level this season. I think Arteta is maximising his team, but I feel like top 4 is only possible for me if they get Aouar or Partey in. I feel like Willian's a good option. He has started the games, but I feel like he is a good option. Like if they can get Pepe forward a little bit and have Willian as an option. They have got some really good young players coming through who, for me, this is the breakthrough season, properly the breakthrough season where, like, Saka for me is performing to a brilliant level already. And Nketiah is a good option. Willock's decent, but I feel like if they can get in Aouar or Partey, depending on who, for me, if I'm Arsenal, I would be looking at maybe Partey. I feel like he offers more steel, and I think Arsenal's defence could still, like, going forward, Arsenal are brilliant. I feel like with Aubameyang, and they have Pepe and then Willian and Lacazette, they have got good players going forward. You have Ceballos in midfield who can pick a pass, and I feel like if they have a Partey in midfield, I feel like it'll shore up the defence a bit more again. After signing Gabriel, who's been brilliant, they could shore up the defence a little bit more with Partey in that middle of the park. But yeah, even if, regardless, if they don't get Partey and they get Aouar, I feel like they take a step up as well. And it'll definitely improve their squad. It'll be a big lift. I think that everyone out in the BQ for signing, and I feel like it shows, one of them coming in would show the sort of job that Arteta's done at Arsenal. There's definitely a feel-good factor, as I keep saying about Arsenal, and that's important. I mean, when we compare that to, say, Manchester United, you could see the difference in performances just based on, maybe you could just say Arteta's better than Oli. Maybe you could. I'll leave that up to you guys to debate that. I'm not going to get in there. Obviously, I think he is, but what he's shown for me is more than what Oli's shown. I think Oli's job for me has been a little bit different to Arteta's. In terms of, like, Oli came into a squad that already had quality in it and added the right additions to make it that bit better. Whereas Arteta's coming in, it's sort of like a complete rebuild sort of thing. He does have good players there, but he has areas in all positions of the field, and I suppose like Oli did as well. But anyway, I'm jumping off saying, I feel like you can see by the performances on the pitch that Manchester United is just not the place to be right this second. I feel like the transfer window needs to end. All the speculation, all the bad things that's happening with Manchester United, everything negative included in Manchester United, is just, whether that's bringing the team down or whether it's a bad pre-season, or I don't know what it is. They definitely need a signing or two just to freshen things up and give everyone a lift at the club. I feel like, but this is the time, and this is why I don't get comparisons, and I have to mention Pogba here now. I feel like I'm being Graham Souness when I mention Pogba because it's unfair. No one is really performing at Manchester United, but I feel like if you ask any Manchester United fan, I would say, oh, who's your best two players? And like I feel like Pogba, they would mention Pogba in that. Most of them, maybe not all of them, and maybe I'm just painting everyone with the same brush, but I feel like this is the time when things aren't going good in games and you can't get a hold of games. I feel like that's the time when Paul Pogba, for me, needs to come to the fore and just say, right, I can dictate games, and everyone says I can dictate games. We're playing Palace, we're playing Brighton. Like, for me, Paul Pogba should be dictating the game and should be getting Manchester United in the front foot and controlling games. And I get it's not just his job. I feel like when you watch him, but you see he's so sloppy on the ball and he gets very complacent. And I don't know, he has the technical ability. His passing is brilliant, but I feel like people would say defensively he has great defensive numbers and stuff like that. But like the game against Palace was abysmal. The game against Brighton was just as bad, if not worse. He get the ball away so many times, constant fouling. Yeah, fair enough. You can say at least he got stuck in, which is fair enough. You can say that at least he got stuck in, but like for me, you expect more from him, and I feel like that's the problem. That's the problem with him. You do expect more from him. In every game, I know you can't say it's his fault. I get that, but when you're trying to say he's one of the best in the world, and he's like, I feel like you need to call on him, and I feel like Ollie for me can only do so much. Yeah, it's his job to manage the team, but I feel like when you look at them two teams, like Manchester United should just win that match. Like they should just win that match for me. I know they won it, but I mean the manner in which they won it, the fact that they needed it in 90th minute penalty, and how many chances Brighton got in that game, like that was a like had Manchester United lost that, like we'd be looking at Manchester United right now and going, wow, like what the fuck, like that was like man, like yeah, I know they scored 3 goals. Maybe I'm being overly critical. I expect so much more because I actually did think that Manchester United were going to be going for the title this season. And if I'm basing off the four, I know it's only 2 games in, but if I'm basing off of them 2 games, man, like relegation is what, like quality wise, Palace for me and Brighton were 2 teams that I had not getting relegated but down in the battle. And I feel like we're only a couple of games in and we still happen. Manchester United can only get better, so the only way is up in terms of where Manchester United will be at the end of the season. The only way is up right now. But like when we compare them right now, after I know it's only 2 or 3 games, two games for Manchester United. When you compare them to the likes of Arsenal and the likes of even Spurs and Chelsea, there's just so much more positivity. Like there's so much more to be positive about. For them clubs than there is about Manchester United. Now, again, transfers. 1 or 2 players come in from Manchester United. It's a completely different outlook then again. Jadon Sancho comes in, and all of a sudden, bang! It's a big lift for everyone at Manchester United. Alex Telles comes in, bang! It's a big lift, especially if he comes in with Sancho. Big lift. But I still worry about them because I feel like Jadon Sancho's playing the weekend, grand. Alex Telles is playing the weekend, grand. I feel like they still concede that many chances. I feel like defensively they're just not at it. And I'm a bit flabbergasted because they've played Brighton. And I know, look, most of the goals came. Well, the last goal came from a set piece. I know they cut them on the counter, but it wasn't even like, Brighton were just going for that. Manchester United were catching them out on the counter. I know they got Rashford's goal came from that counter attack. I know that, but I feel like it just didn't, like, there was nothing to be positive about in that. Only for you scored 3 goals, yes, and you won 3 points. So in that way, it was better than Palace. But I'm talking about the actual performance of the Manchester United it just wasn't good enough. It was abysmal, to be honest with you. And Brighton will be going away from that absolutely fuming. Like they hit the bar 5 times, and like they hit the bar 5 times, but there was chances that were better than them. Like the woodwork efforts, like a couple of them were at the edge of the box, and I don't know how many times down the left. I know March got his goal, but he could have had a hat trick. Like how many times he was free of that back post to at least test the Gea. properly test De Gea. He blew him like most, I'd say 80% of his shots. Got the header goal, and you think Brighton are at to getting the point. I wouldn't say nick it. They get less than what they deserve. For me, they deserve to win the game, but they get some out of the game, which is nothing less than they deserve. And then Manchester United go back at the end, and look, it is a penalty. He's like, Jesus Christ, why Maupay is going to that with his hand in the air like that is silly. There's not a hope he's getting there. I think it is going bound, but I don't know if it's going in for Maguire. I don't think it is. Silly defending. It's a proper forwards tackle sort of that we've seen in it. Like, and Manchester nicked the 3 points, and like, I don't know if that's a good thing for Man United or a bad thing. It is a good thing in terms of that to get the 3 points, but like, you'd wonder now the fact that with the transfer. Like, for me, I thought, right after that game on Saturday, Manchester United going to look and say, right, we need to get moving. Or there was what 9-10 days left in the window. Like, they haven't yet. They still haven't. I don't know how the Teles deal isn't wrapped up. The Sancho deal for me doesn't look like it's going to happen. And I feel like if it is to happen, it's no longer 108 million. I feel like now you have to go to Bruce and just say, right, here's 120, here's 125. Give us Jadon Sancho. I feel like it's absolutely silly negotiating from Ed Woodward as usual, but like, I can't see anything to be positive about. I feel like Brighton for me have started off brilliantly, by the way, so I ain't gonna sugarcoat anything. Like, Brighton for me against Chelsea didn't deserve to lose, deserved to probably beat Chelsea, and they did get the win then against, I can't think who they played. I'll tell you now, Newcastle, absolutely smashed Newcastle. So yeah, the Brighton have started off well, but just the manner in that defeat for Manchester United would worry me. Again, as I keep saying, I know we're only a couple of games in, but I do need to assess it in that way. As I said, the only way is for Manchester United surely after them defeats, but for me, they haven't played any of they played Brighton and Palace, who for me, two teams who I know they've started well. You would probably still tip them to be in that relegation fight. Like, they've started well, and we are only a couple of games in, but Brighton go out and lose next 2 games, and all of a sudden they're on a bit of a bad run. I feel like Potter's a good manager, so I feel like they'll be alright. I feel like Crystal Palace's squad's grand, so really good, so I feel like they'll be alright as well. But like, they are teams that you still, like, if they go down near the dogfight, you wouldn't be like, oh shit, what happened? Like, I feel like they might be in the dogfight. I feel like for me, 2 teams are already relegated, unless they get improvements in the transfer window, Fulham and West Brom. But look, we'll jump onto them in a couple of minutes. Another team that I thought would be up fighting, and I know again we're only 3 points in, would be Chelsea. Although I am shocked because, as I said in one of my previous videos there, that I feel like Lampard has bought a lot of players, and it is going to take time for them to gel. But my question mark would be, is he going to get the time to gel? Like, I feel like it's a great result, to be fair, in the end, because they were 3-0 down at half time to get a point against West Brom. But before that, you'd be expecting Chelsea to go out and smash West Brom off the park. Especially considering some of the performances that West Brom have put in. Like, they got smashed by Leicester, and Jesus Christ. And the other defeat was Everton. They conceded 5 to Everton. I know the handball sort of was involved in that, but yeah, you'd expect Chelsea to still get the win there. They end up coming back from 3 down to get the result, which is good. But I feel like I don't like obviously, as much as I don't mind what happens with the Chelsea thing, like, you would hope he does get the time, because I feel like none of the players that he's bought are poor. You definitely feel like they will improve Chelsea. They definitely have the quality to improve Chelsea 100%. It's just whether or not Frank is going to be given the time to do what he needs to do with them players. Like, for me, expectations are gonna get higher. Like, I feel if he doesn't get top 4 this season, like, he'd probably be sacked. And I feel like that's what spending that sort of money does. And for me, they haven't started off like that's like, it's sort of, he's caught in a sticky situation. Like, he hasn't hit the ground running. Where you'd at least 6 points. I know, like, look, we're only 3 games in, but if you want to, like, talk about title wise, like, he's 5 points off Liverpool already. You know, like, we are 3 games in, I know, but the season's hard enough for me when you're Chelsea and they have got good players to go up against Manchester City and Liverpool for me this season. Just based off last 2 seasons, the consistency of the teams. I know City you could question a little bit with a couple of losses last season, but we know that City for me, unless something mad is after happening, they're like they're gonna get a couple of wins on the bounce and probably gonna go on a good run now, winning the next fucking 9, 10, 11 games on the bounce, and that's just the quality that City have. And I feel like Chelsea to be 5 points already behind like Liverpool, like top 4 for me, I think you'd be okay. But I feel like even then you would question, because for me Chelsea's owners, they don't give a shit. They don't seem, as I said in the previous video, unless they've changed that now and they realise that football is starting to change again back where like you look at the likes of Liverpool and you can imagine with Arteta and you see Ollie and like managers need to be given time to implement their philosophies, and like you feel like the more they get the players in that fit their philosophies, the better they're going to be. Like you can see just the turnover of managers just doesn't do it. Like it just makes things a lot more and puts teams in states, you could say, like Manchester United, like Arsenal before Arteta come in. It does put you in a state like that. Liverpool before they got Klopp, just the rotation managers, it doesn't work. So unless they've changed and they realise that, and which I hope they do, and I think they might. I'm saying right now, but like I don't know that they do that. Like, and I do fear that if Frank doesn't get top 4 with the amount of money that he spent, I feel like Frank might get sacked, and someone else might be starting to implement a different. Like I don't know what way Chelsea are going to go. I feel like they can definitely get top 4 still, because obviously it's not completely out of balance, and they just need to get players kicking. They definitely have the squad. Like for me, top 4 for me should be absolutely necessity, and should be a given, to be honest with you. I feel like for me at the start of the season I would tip them to be challenging up there for the title, which could still be a thing. I ain't gonna count me chickens. Like I know how Liverpool are, and I know they're different from the club, but they like to do things the hard way. For me, they've started off the best out of the teams last year. Another mention, Everton, who for me are definitely going to be up there challenging. For me, they look the informed team, we would say. They look really good. They look solid. Like they're going to be impressive. Like they're impressive against West Brom. They're impressive. James Rodriguez looks like an absolute monster. When you have, I keep saying, Alan and Decore sitting behind you, like you just feel solid. I would still question Pickford. Calvert-Lewin looks like he's going to pick up a fucking good fair amount of goals this season. Just based on position, he could literally just not need to be involved in play. His position looks really good. He can score with his feet, can score with his head. He looks like a good striker. Richarlison, we know what he has. And again, they have options on the right, but I feel like a bit like Leicester last season, if they can improve on the right hand side, or possibly maybe get in a centre half, which I think they are looking at. I feel like you would definitely say that Everton are going to push, and if they can get top 4 this season, I feel like they have the money in the squad, as we're saying, and I think their owners are pretty rich, are pretty well off anyway. That they'll definitely keep pushing up that table, I think. Everton, another team sort of like West Ham, you would say, who just always have a decent squad, always look like they've bought well, and then just end up failing for the season. But like their squad depth and everything, like they have Sigurdsson and that coming off the bench, and players like Obi or Bernard are coming off the bench. It's pretty good. Seamus Coleman looks like he's picked up form a couple of seasons ago, which is good for me as an Irishman, but obviously not as a Liverpool fan. But yeah, I had to give Everton a mention. They've been terrific. They did beat a Palace team who were in form, coming off the back of an impressive win against Manchester United at Old Trafford. It's never going to be easy. They are helped out by shocking VAR decision, which is sort of ruining football at the minute, I would say. Carragher, I suppose, hit the nail on the head when he said that. It is ruining football. It definitely is ruining football. The whole Dyer incident, it's just not good enough. Like it's going to be absolutely crazy unless they change something. They seem fairly confident that it is going to change, so hopefully won't be moaning too much longer about it. Spurs is another team. They've made signings, they're looking to improve. They want the centre back, and apparently they want the centre back and a centre forward, which I thought they went off the centre forward because they brought in Gareth Bale. They didn't. Son is now injured, so I suppose I get it. I feel like if they bring in Skriniar, who they're looking at, they're now looking at Rudiger. Again, look, he'll improve. He's another option at the back for Mourinho. If they can get in a centre forward as well, like I feel like they'll have a really good window. Again, the problem that I have is that Europa League football, their schedule looks stacked at the minute. They were also absolutely like, to be fair, but against Southampton they looked absolutely brilliant. Since that Everton game, they've looked really, really good in all departments. Like, they completely nullified Newcastle, who were off the back of an absolute shocking result against West Ham. Regardless of result, Brighton. Regardless of result, performance against Brighton was absolutely shocking. Wasn't much better against Spurs. I only thought they were lucky to be still in the game. And then, to be fair, as you could sense was probably going to happen, there was going to be a big chance for Newcastle towards the end. They're literally given a gift of a penalty because, like, I don't know what the can do there. But yeah, for me, Spurs, like, they dominated Newcastle the whole game. They were really, really good in the second half against Southampton. So again, loads of positives there. They have got Jose Mourinho, who I feel is going to prioritise Europa League. But squad-wise now, you look at them. They have the likes of Bergwijn, Lucas Moura, Bale come into the team. Son is now out but will come back. Harry Kane, possibly another centre forward. Dele Alli, Lo Celso, Ndombele. They have loads of options now. And you look at them now and you think they do actually have a squad now that can go far in the Europa and can challenge on for top 4 in the league. I feel like they just need to get a bit of consistency in the results. It is hard when you're playing fucking 3 matches every 6 days or 8 days to play up to a certain level. But I feel like they do have a squad that is good enough to play on all fronts. Like, I suppose when you throw, they've already played like 4 qualifying games. They've played 3 games in the league. They played 3 Carabao Cup games. Like, they're on the 10th game nearly already. I feel like that is a struggle, like, you know, for them. But for me, I think Mourinho, once the fixture list starts to cool a little bit, if he can be up there already, he could definitely get top 4 out of Spurs, no doubt about it. They definitely have the quality. Let's see what Bale's going to be like. I'm actually excited to watch him, but let's see what Bale is going to be like. Reguilon's going to add quality to the fullback area. Spurs are going to be a good team to watch. They look like they're full of goals. I know they only scored 1 against Newcastle, but the amount of chances that they created, they got 5 against Southampton. And the reason why I'm not questioning the Everton result or saying that really about it is because, like, did we just catch Spurs on a bad day where Everton were at full pelt, which they have been already for most of the games this season, and Spurs just weren't at it. Because since then, even the first half against Southampton, they weren't great. But since then, they've just stepped it up. And they've, for me, smashed Newcastle. Should have got the 3 points, didn't. And that's going to be a worry, I suppose, for Jose Mourinho and Spurs fans is can they, like, when they're dominating, that you need to make it count. You need to, and maybe from games from now on, they should be a bit more clinical. They might be more composed in front of the goal, and hopefully they take a bit more chances. Mourinho will definitely be letting them know that, because as we've seen, for me, it's shocking decision that Newcastle got that penalty at the end. But for me, Spurs should have the game well and truly over by that point, and it shouldn't even be a problem that Newcastle, like, for me, it could be 3-4 goals up, and then the penalty gets given, and you know, it's because it brings the game back, and it's 2 points. It's definitely 2 points drop from Spurs in that game. And while we're on it, I feel like after that amazing fucking result in the first game and performance on Newcastle, based on the last 2 performances, you would fear a little bit for them. Like, they aren't creating anything. They're obviously missing Saint Maximin. 100% they're missing him, but there's no service. Like, their signings have been really good. They're not playing Fraser for some reason. I don't know why. Callum Wilson is getting absolutely no service. Like, he is a goal scorer. He will get you goals, but you need to help him. You need to give him some sort of service. They're just not. I don't know why. I don't know if Fraser is injured. Maybe he is. Saint Maximin didn't play the weekend. They do lack. Like, when he gets on the ball, he makes defences step that extra couple of yards back, and it gives their players a bit of space. But yeah, he's an exciting player. Like, when they get him back, I suppose maybe we'll see them again. But he played, I think, against Brighton and was absolutely just, he didn't bring it to the table. I feel like Newcastle need to step it up in the next game and need to get They need to get a goal or two in the next game. Whether they win it or not, I'm not too sure. Obviously, they would rather win it, but if they don't, if they can get goals, I feel like they'd be a bit more positive. I know they scored on the weekend, but it was a penalty. It was the fourth shot, I think, on target in the last 2 games, which isn't great. Like, when it's just not great considering like the areas that they improved last season. They got an attacking fullback in Jamal Lewis. They got Callum Wilson in, and they got Ryan Fraser in. On top of having St. Maximin there, and Jonathan was actually okay on the weekend. He looked Newcastle's best attacker, to be fair. But yeah, I feel like they did lack a little bit. I feel like they could be down. I feel like they could be down in that relegation battle if things keep carrying on the same. They definitely will be. Obviously, as I mentioned, we'll jump to relegation. I do fear for Fulham. I feel like unless they can get, like, if I actually am going to assess them, actually, honestly, like, I feel like some of the players that they have are good enough. I know it's a bit shocking to say, like, they've conceded, I think 10 goals already this season. They've scored 3 in 1 game. But I feel like Mitrovic gets you goals, guaranteed. Sorry, guys. I feel like Mitrovic gets you goals, guaranteed. I feel like in midfield they actually, I like Tom Kearney as a midfielder. And Anguissa is a presence in midfield, 100%. I feel like he's actually decent. Anguissa, he's been their best player, I would say, in the opening 3 games for me. They have got good players on the wings. I think Knockaert is a good winger for them. I feel like he has that potential to get the ball in. But defensively, man, I feel like Tim Ream is one of the worst defenders in the league, and Odoi is shocking. He should have been sent off against Philly yesterday, who, by the way, were incredible yesterday. Jack Grealish, brilliant player. He controlled the game. Conor Hourihane, another little show. He was pretty good. Another positive for Ireland. But Josh McGinn, is it John McGinn? Sorry, Josh. John McGinn in midfield was terrific. Especially with that first goal. That pass to Grealish was incredible. Broke the line of Fulham. And sort of like, for me, you would expect a reaction from Fulham, considering they scored 3 goals against Leeds from, like, the game. They could have just sat down against Leeds. I think they went 3 goals down, and they responded, and that's, that shows something. And I feel like they started the game in the first 2 or 3 minutes. I know it's only 2 minutes, but they started the game. They wanted to get on the front foot. You could see, but I think that goal just killed them. To get that goal in the 4th minute, Villa. I think that sort of killed Fulham, and then they started to get on the ball a bit more. It took them a few minutes to get on the ball, and I think to get 2 goals, they were 2 goals down within 15, 20 minutes, and I feel like that was it then. And then I feel like getting at half time, and the manager might give them, I don't know what he says, but surely he gives them a pep talk, and then 2 minutes into the second half, you can see it again. Timing of the goals was absolutely the worst it could have been for Fulham. Because a 3-0 down, they started to ask a couple of questions of Villa, and I feel they did score. Mitrovic did score. And it was ruled that we're offside, but for a foul, sorry. It could have been given. There wasn't a proper angle. Like, I didn't see the angle on Sky to say there was definitely a foul. Like, it was too far away to think he was pushing it back on contact. But like a goal there, and like it was all Fulham. Like, I feel like if it was only 2 goals up, the game was different. But defensively, they are absolutely diabolical. Like, they're gone. They need to get in. I think they're linked with Sarr at the minute. Would be a brilliant sign for them. But I feel like they need another centre back as well, because like that's just not, like, there's not a hope in hell that's like, just wow. They were absolutely shit. Tim Ream, for me, as I said, he's not good enough, and Odoi is just not good enough. I feel like Sarr comes in, get another centre back in. They have your man Lemmer Chand. I feel like I'd give him a game ahead of Tim Ream. Look, Fulham fans will know about Fulham more. I didn't watch them much last season. They were a possession-based team, is all I know last season. They aren't going to be that this year. They ain't gonna. No team for me is going to go to Fulham and sit off and let Fulham have all the ball. No team in the league. They have to readjust to this league. They need in better quality defenders. I feel like they have something going forward. Like I feel there's something there. There definitely is something there. Knockout is decent. Mitrovic will get you goals. They have that presence in midfield with Anguissa. They have Tom Kearney there as well. I don't know what happened with Seri. Is he gone back out on loan or is he sold? Or I'm not too sure what happened there. I thought he was to come back. I think it's a 2-year loan, is it? That's what I'm gonna guess. But I feel like they've went completely opposite about it. I feel like last year they just not last year. It's the season before I think when they come up recently they went out and they just signed like 15 new players and tried to implement them all into the team, which is what I already picked with Chelsea about, is why it's tough. Like when you're changing so many players and you start 11, it is tough to get going. They literally, it was a shocker of a season. I feel like they've done the complete opposite. I feel like when every other team is improving around you, you need to improve. You need to get up to a level. Like I feel like when you look at Leeds have done the best business for me. One of the best business in the league. I feel like Everton's up there. Definitely. Villa, definitely improvement. We'll touch off them a little bit as well. But Leeds for me have done the best business out of the bottom half, I would say, of the table. I wouldn't consider Everton in the bottom half. Probably more than that. Like I feel like Leeds are probably done third or fourth best in the league, especially if they get your man Michael Cuisance or Marcus Cuisance. He's meant to be brilliant, has a lot of potential in him. But even like they brought in your man Robin Koch. They then went out and got Llorente at centre back. They brought in Rodrigo up front. Like they've brought in players that will definitely improve their squad, and Fulham haven't. They haven't done that for me. Sarr for me improves them at the back 100%, but they definitely need another centre back. 100% they need another centre back, or they're in big trouble. They need to get that line at the back sorted. They need to stop conceding absolutely silly goals. Every one of the goals were avoidable goals. The first goal was a great ball by McGinn, but it's bad defending to let a player run in like that. You either need to step up and keep your line, or you need to cover him. You need to go with him. They done nothing. They done neither. They didn't step up. They just stood there and literally watched the ball go in. They were afraid to tackle them for the second goal. No one wanted to take a man. Like it was shocking. They need to readjust. As I said, they're not going to be a possession-based team this season. They're going to be a team that needs to counter. This season, they need to take the chances. They need to get more service to Mitrovic. I'm amazed that that Knockout didn't even come on at the end or half time for me. I feel like when the game is still in the balance at 2-0, you bring on Knockout, and I'm not saying he would have helped that because they conceded 2 minutes into the second half. But for me, he offers that bit of, like, he has the delivery and that bit of quality up front, which is what I feel Mitrovic lacked. I know you could look at the stats and say he had 7 shots, but there was no chance that Mitrovic got yesterday that you think this is a goal, because he was leaning back, or he was leaning forward, or he had a defender hanging out of his neck, or like there was not a hope he could have scored. So for that reason, I fear for Fulham. Going forward, they look okay. Yeah, going forward they look okay, but I feel like when it's going to get, like, when they play, all teams are going to push on them. They need to readjust. They need to start counter attacking. They need to play for fouls to get Mitrovic involved. But until they do that, for me, they're in trouble. The other team, so for me, I would definitely tip them to go down based on the first 3. The other team I would say would be West Brom. But again, like, they've showed there's signs there. There's definitely signs there that there's improvement. They got 3 goals against Chelsea. For me, I think Chelsea went into that game, for me, thinking the game was won before it started. These conceded 5 to Everton. They conceded 3 to Leicester. This should be a breeze. They got caught out 3 times, 3 goals. Well, 3 mistakes, 3 goals. Definitely given, like, you know, when you make mistakes like that, I know, like, it is the Premier League. Like, they can definitely finish. Robinson's first goal is just a great finish. Chelsea could still, like, you know, if for me the mistake didn't cost them. I think it was Marcus Alonso who heads it in, shocking header, heads it into the West Brom player who plays it up to Robinson. It's a great finish. Caballero can't get near it. Thiago Silva then makes it a bit of a slip, and it's taken off, and Robinson finishes. And then the last goal is just, it's bad defending. He lets him go at the back post and he just knocks it in. And it's a good reaction from Chelsea. But they showed there, West Brom, that they can go head to head. But But I feel like when teams take it, like, my worry is that I feel like they're not going to get many points off the top teams. Is my worry, and I feel like they don't have enough quality to play against your Brightons, your Palaces, your Southamptons. Who else is there? Fucking your Villas. I feel like them teams have too much quality. Your Southamptons, and I feel like they have too much quality for them. Like when teams are gonna take you seriously, go match for match with you. That's when I question West Brom. Again, it could be a complete opposite thing where West Brom feel like, right, we need to go at this, but I feel like they played Everton. They went toe to toe a little bit with them. They got lashed by Leicester a little bit. Time will tell West Brom, but for me, I would tip them to go down based on what I've seen, unless they, as I said, unless they get in drastic improvements. The other team I would tip to go down based on the first 3 games. For me, like, an outside chance, I really don't want that, and I feel like he needs to get it right, but like, I would say Newcastle will be there or thereabouts, but the other team I would say would be probably Sheffield United. Like, I just feel that the players that Newcastle have brought in have just taken them to that step up where they should get out of top 4. I didn't think they'd actually be in it, to be honest, but based on the first 3 games, last 2 games in particular, first game they were really good. They did grind out a point, but that's what Newcastle have, I suppose. They end up getting a point against Tottenham, but I feel like Sheffield United, for me, could be in trouble. They've played Villa. They've played, let me just see who they played. I think they've played Villa. They've played Wolves in the first game of the season, and then they played on the weekend there against Southampton, I think it was it? No, sorry, it was Leeds. Sorry. Yeah, they played against Leeds on the weekend, and look, they were actually decent against Leeds. They caused Leeds some problems and nullified Leeds going forward. But I look at Sheffield United, and like last season, I think I mentioned it in a previous video, possibly. Like, I feel like teams went to Sheffield United not expecting to get what they got against. Like, I didn't think Sheffield United were going to give us problems. Like, and I feel like now, because of how well they done last season, teams are going to take Sheffield United seriously. They know that they can cause us a lot of trouble. They finished top half last season, got some really good results. I feel like teams will step it up when they go to Sheffield United. I feel like when they don't get points on the board, it becomes a task. I look at their transfers that they've done, and no one stands out for me. Like, I feel like their squad wise, only for their system, I feel like their squad, a bit like Burnley, I would say. Like, there's no one in that Burnley team or the Sheffield United team that you look at and say, yeah, they walk into that team. You know, like, even when I look at, like, is there many players off Sheffield United, if it wasn't systems, that go into a team like Southampton? I don't feel there is many. Same with Brighton. Brighton for me have been playing brilliant stuff. Like, and you have to look at the Palace. I know Palace have started brilliantly, but like, for me, the bottom 4 at the minute is Fulham, Sheffield United, Burnley, West Brom. And then when you start to push up the table, like, for me, none of the Sheffield United players get into West Ham. Possibly a defender, I would say, because I feel like they might lack a defender, and a right back. But I think Berger's a good player as well in midfield for Sheffield United. Other than him, for me, I don't see many players getting in from the likes of Burnley or Sheffield United, Fulham or West Brom, to be honest, into any of them teams. So I feel like quality-wise they have it. System-wise, of course, they're really good at the system, and they nullify most teams. And I feel like they might be able to pick up points that way. But based off the year, when you're after losing your first 3 matches, it becomes tough. I feel like the next game is a must-win match, and I feel like the more they don't win, the more pressure comes on you. And like, I don't know. I would say Sheffield United might be the creators of their own downfall in some ways. Like, they performed to a level where last season they were absolutely acceptable. That teams for me are going to go with the intention that these are going to punish us if we don't, and like sort of step their game up. You can see, like, an example for it would be say a team like Burnley or Brighton or Palace or teams like that go to the likes of, say, Liverpool or Man City or Arsenal or United. The game steps up because they know that they need to be at their best to get a win. I feel like maybe it won't step up to that level, but they know Sheffield United can hurt them and they need to step the game up. And I do worry just based on that. They finished so well last season that I feel like this was the time to improve their squad in ways. Like, I think they're definitely going to be in a relegation battle, and I hope that they have the quality to stay out of it. They were definitely the feel good factor last season, but I do worry that they might not have the quality. I think the manager's pretty good. He's really, really good, should I say. Not pretty good, because what he done last season, nobody seen coming. They were brilliant last season. I don't think they're going to, obviously, I don't think they can possibly do what they done last season again this season without the right investments, which it doesn't look like they're going to get. The start of the season hasn't been great, and I'd like to see Sheffield United stand up. I actually like the manager. I think Waller's a good manager. I like Sean Dyche as well, because I'm sort of putting Burnley and Sheffield United in the same bracket. For me, I feel like one of them teams might go down. The only thing with Burnley is that they do have injuries to come back. Like, I think they have Ashley Barnes and stuff to come back. Who is a big who is a big player to the way they play. I think Sheffield United need to improve a little bit. I feel. I think they both just lack that bit of creativity. Obviously, you need to find the player that suits your system, but because you can't just go out and sign any player. But I feel like they do lack a bit of creativity in that team. Like, we've seen Leeds, as much as good as Leeds were, the fact Leeds kept a clean sheet against them by 2 brilliant saves from SDA, by the way. But like Leeds, I'm not saying they're easy to get at, but they do concede chances. They conceded a lot of chances against Liverpool. They conceded chances against Fulham. And Fulham caught 3 goals against them, so they do concede chances. They did keep clean sheets, but against clean sheet against Sheffield United, and that would be the worry for me. And Burnley as well in the exact same bracket as that. Like, I feel like their players just haven't got that quality. Like, to go into other teams, and to me, I know I did compare them to the likes of the Villas and the Palaces, and I know they've made really good starts, but for me, like, the closest teams to them after, like, you have Fulham, Sheffield United, Burnley, West Brom from 17th down to 20th, but like the closest teams after that is Man United, Man City, and Southampton, Wolves. Like, I did mention Southampton, I did mention Brighton. Like, then you're into 10th, which is Newcastle and West Ham. They will be the teams. For me, they don't get into Southampton, Brighton's team, Newcastle, or West Ham. Obviously, Man City, Man United for me, and Wolves are going to push up that table because they have the quality in player, and they're really good teams that they will be pushing up that table. I don't doubt that, to be honest. I'd be shocked if they didn't, obviously. But like, for me, they're the teams, early signs anyway, who are going to be there, and I feel like their players just don't go into that system. Or don't go into them. Like, players from Sheffield United and Burnley don't get into Brighton's team or Southampton's team for me. Or if they do, very, very few of them do. And Villa, who are doing well, they're in 4th. Palace are in 6th. Like, for me, they're the teams that are going to be down there. I feel like Aston Villa were absolutely brilliant yesterday, and I feel like they've done some of the best business. They've, to be honest with you, I know I gave it to Leeds in the bottom half. You might actually just pip fucking Villa to it. It's very close. I feel like if they get croissants, Leeds, and he hits the ground running, I feel like they might just pip it. But Burton Shaw is a great signing. Ollie Watkins is a good signing. A lot of money, but it's a good signing. And I feel like Mike Cash has been absolutely brilliant so far. I think they're looking at a midfielder as well, or creative midfielder, Villa as well. And I can see them getting him in before the end of the season, in the end of the transfer window. I don't know who it's going to be. I think they were asking about Ruben Loftus-Cheek and Barkley, which would be 2 good signs, really good signs for them. Or one of them would be a really good signing for Aston Villa. But yeah, they've been really good, and they've started off really well. They're going to be tough for them from the next game. But look, I almost covered everyone. Southampton picked up their first win. It's important to get points on the board. I don't worry for Southampton. There wasn't really much to go off in the first game. They played well against Spurs. I did mention in the last video. That's why I didn't really go into too much detail about them. There wasn't too much to say. I don't really want to be absolutely going over myself again, repeat myself, about the same teams. But I don't want the video to tail on, like, you get bored either. So you probably already are. Anyone who has watched this far, I really appreciate it, guys. Please give us a like and a thumbs up and subscribe. It means the world. But yeah, as I said, that's my predictions. I feel like top 4 race is going to be there. It's going to have 6, 7, 8 teams in it. It's going to be tough. And I feel like for me, the early signs, I would say teams to get relegated for me are Fulham, West Brom, and one of Sheffield United and Burnley. And I'm going to leave it there, guys. Let us know what you think. Let us know in the comments what you think. And guys, until the next video, peace.